I'm going to start this webinar by telling you a little bit about who I am and also who Laura is. Laura Odom is our host, and she is the office manager for Firelight Books. She's the person who pretty much answers any questions that you have when you're calling in to the office. My name is Dr. Nancy Nichols. I've been working in special education since I was a teenager. That was one of my first jobs to help me get through college, and I'm seeing that my internet may be a little unstable. So just let Laura know if you're having trouble hearing or if there are any hiccups. I want to welcome you to Careers 1 and Careers 2. These two subjects complement each other. They also go hand in hand with the Elements curriculum. The Elements curriculum is, as you know, age-appropriate content, real-life connections, success-oriented activities, and we have 19 different subjects that are addressed. The format is the same for all of the books or all of the subjects. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's in the kit, and this is the same for all of the Elements subjects. In a kit, you'll find the Teacher Resource Edition, student books, practice books, and the CD. What you see in front of you are pages directly from the catalog that shows you for Basic Careers 1 that it's an Elements curriculum for high school students who are reading at a grade 2 to 4 level. Here is a blurb that describes the subject and the main concepts that are being presented. You'll notice that it's standards aligned, and down here this tells you exactly what you would be getting in a kit. Here is the pricing, and you see that there's also a digital site license subscription. That's an online site license so that you may use Careers 1 and the other Elements books the same in a remote learning setting. On the next page, you see that there are sample pages from the Careers 1 book. Now let's look at Careers 2. Again, these are pages directly out of the catalog, which you can download from the website. And the same thing. You see it's part of the Elements curriculum for high school students reading at a 2nd to 4th grade level. The subject title, a blurb about what is Basic Careers 2, and the example concepts, as well as what's included in the kit. You see that in the kit there are student books, practice books, and the Teacher Resource Edition. There are also, as you go through the catalog, testimonials from real teachers out in the field using the curriculum. Again, the pricing for the complete kit, which are books, and the digital site license, which is on an online resource so that you can use this for remote teaching. Again, over here, 2 pages from the Careers 2 book. With all of the Elements curriculum, these are the students who can benefit. Special education students are those who are at risk. English language learners, or ELLs. It can be used in the homebound setting for alternative placement in special schools. In fact, it is being used in public schools, charter schools, behavioral schools, reservation schools, and juvenile facilities. It's used, the Elements curriculum is used in mainstream classrooms. Resource settings, the ELL settings, as a part of RTI or response to intervention. Credit recovery, summer school, remediation, statewide assessment prep, hospital settings. This is a very versatile curriculum for at-risk students. Careers 1 and Careers 2 are set up the same way. The Careers books are set up like all the other elements curriculum. And that is because my personal philosophy is the best surprise is no surprise at all. Teachers don't need to be surprised by one book laid out one way and another book laid out another way. And the kids don't need to be surprised either. Our kids oftentimes come from unstable backgrounds, and any stability we can offer to them really helps them in their learning capabilities. Now, if you look at Careers 1, here's the table of contents. You'll see Unit 1, Chapter 1, and then 5 pages. Most of the Careers books are set up with 6 units. Each unit has 6 chapters. Each chapter has 5 pages. If a student does 1 page each day, the student will cover the book in 1 school year. Now, if you have a student who is intellectually challenged, that is probably the maximum that the student can do. That's teaching at their level. If you have a student with a learning disability or dyslexia who is intellectually functioning at a higher level, then there's more. There's the student book, the practice book, and then in the TE, there are games, there are activities the students can work which will enrich their vocabulary. And then there's also activities and projects. So it can be extended out because, you know, as working with special education and at-risk students, you know that students come on all kinds of levels. You may even have a gifted student who is in your classroom for behavioral reasons. Well, that student may have difficulties reading or difficulties with attention, but that student is capable of working in the student book, the practice book, as well as doing all of the vocabulary extension activities and the projects. So up here, this is the table of contents for Careers 1. Here's the sample table of contents for Careers 2. You see it's set up the same way. Here's Unit 1, here's Chapter 1, here's 5 pages, and that lets you know what the student is doing and what is the basic objective for each page. Careers 1 and Careers 2 address the 3 targets that educators look for in terms of careers. That's the 6 main career fields, career prep, and we know that that's really important, job readiness and employability skills, and career profiles. So in Careers 1 and Careers 2 both address these, but they're addressed differently and in different depths. With Careers 1, this is a basic overview, and this is also applying it to the student's life. So you see the first right away, your life, and then that provides an anchor for the student. Why is this relevant to me? And then the difference between a job or a career. What is employment? Career with a purpose. And purpose, what does that mean? Does it mean to have a sense of purpose for life? And then we go on into interests and talents, hard and soft skills, values, and so forth. We really don't get into some pretty serious meat until Chapter 5, when we go into the knowledge and skills, employability and communication, and so forth. Then the career fields are in Chapter 6. Now that's important to note that this is where the career fields are. This is the breakdown, because you're going to see with Careers 2, career fields are a target, are a focus throughout the entire book. Unit 2 explores career fields. So each chapter in Unit 2 is a specific career field. Careers 2 addresses the 3 targets also, but addresses them differently. For example, the 6 main career fields, each unit is a career field. So the entire unit focuses on the career field. Environmental and agricultural systems is the first one. So now when we talk about career fields, we're going to talk about farming, agriculture, being out as a forester, or those kinds of careers. And what does that mean? What is an agricultural job or career? And also, there are going to be profiles. Profiles are really important because kids pretty much only know what they know, what's around them. If mom is a teacher, then they know about teaching as a profession. If mom is a waitress, they know about waitressing as a profession. This allows them to explore more profiles. And we start off simple and we start off fun. We start off with the dog walker profile. Most kids like animals, they like dogs. This is not scary to them. It's an enjoyable way to get into exploring profiles. A dog walker, a beekeeper, a fisher, a horse trainer, a farmer. Those are kind of knowns and those are interesting before we get into some of the more difficult concepts. Profiles such as a veterinarian, a forester, a zoologist. Most kids don't know about animal or soil scientists, or a refuse collector. These are going to be defined, and the student will have the availability to be able to learn a variety of profiles. In fact, in Careers 2, there's more than 100 profiles that are targeted. In each unit, the 6th chapter is devoted to foundation knowledge and skills and getting ready for work. Some real hardcore job prep, readiness skills, employability skills. The job prep is also embedded throughout the book, not just in that 6th chapter. These are the 6 main career fields that are being taught in schools. Career 1 introduces the fields and Career 2 goes deeper. We know this. The first one is environmental and agricultural systems, which are plants, animals, and nature, farming, jobs like that. Communication and information systems, this is the arts, movies, making things, production, computers and software. Then the 3rd career field is industrial manufacturing and engineering systems, which is building and making things. The 4th is health sciences. So that's about health. That's your nurses, your home health care, doctors, and so forth. The 5th is human services and resources, and that's really difficult for students to understand. Most of them don't understand what this means, helping people in government. So we talk about that. And the final unit is business, marketing, and management, about business, ads, and money. You can see in Careers 1 that the career fields are addressed here in Chapter 6, and then there's some exploration in Unit 2. Whereas with Careers 2, each unit is devoted to a career field. Careers 1 teaches and provides real-life skills practice. I know it's important for kids to know algebra and geometry and so forth, but my goodness, we all know our kids suffer a deficit from real-life skills practice. They typically do not come from a background where that's emphasized, and so we really want our kids to learn more about how to get a job and the real life skills of keeping a job, as well as common sense budgeting, paychecks, paying taxes, all those real life skills. And those are explored in Careers 1 and in greater depth with Careers 2. So here you see in Careers 1, there is job readiness skills. Here's your job readiness and core skills, finding your interest. There's actually a vocational assessment and how to jumpstart your career. And then the next chapter is about job search, labor market, some of these things kids never ever think about, networking, applying for a job. Most people know about job ads, but do they prep for the interview? And here's an actual job application. And then there's also mistakes, things that you don't want to happen. Now we talk about the resume, and that's exploring what is a resume, how to write a resume. This is the format, here's a cover letter, and they have that opportunity. Interviewing for a job is critical. Typically, our kids do not have the background that tells them how to dress, how to act, what to say for an interview, but this does. And then job information. You need to keep a job after you've secured it, and this explains how to keep a job and also common worries. Again, the best surprise is no surprise at all for kids when it comes to jobs. Careers 2 teaches and provides career prep as well. The 6th chapter, as I explained, is devoted to the fundamental knowledge and skills plus specific job prep skills and life skills. You can see we're going through it again with that first section. Getting ready for work, career assessment, job ads, and online application. Careers 1 explores many occupations, but typically they're either really general or some that are very specific. This is a very specific page that talks about J.K. Rowling and how she rose to be a famous writer, and talking a little bit about the Harry Potter books, which is appealing to kids. Most kids know about Harry Potter. Most kids are familiar, and this is a good way of showing the struggle, the challenges, and how she became successful. In Careers 2, we explore more than 100 job profiles, and we're going to be really specific. What are the duties? What is the education? What is the pay? And how about job outlook? Almost no kids take a look at job outlook. So there are several chapters in each unit that specifically target job profiles. Careers 1 and Careers 2 both explore values. Even though values is not exactly an academic concept that needs to be addressed, it is a real life, you just got to know what your values are. Here are the 6 most common values, and they are addressed in Careers 1, they are addressed in Careers 2. They are addressed differently, but each are addressed. Responsibility, taking care of duties in a dependable way. Compassion, caring deeply about people and their well-being. Achievement, something done successfully. Relationships, connections with people. Courage, the ability to face fear, pain, or deep sadness. And recognition, respect from others for your work and success. In the previous page, I talked about profiles. Let's look at the zoologist profile. Well, first we have a little blurb about Jill. She's planning for her future. Relationships are important to her. So now we're talking a little bit about values. And then we talk about Jill's prep for being a zoologist. She loves her job as a helper at the zoo. She loves animals. She's good at her job. She's going to college and plans to be a zoologist. Here are the duties. It's spelled out. Here's the education that's required to be a zoologist. Here is the pay, and here is the job outlook. As with all of the elements curriculum, You see that there's a game at the bottom where the concept is addressed and the students has an opportunity to interact with that which is being taught on that particular page, the objective. Careers 1 to also explore social and emotional key ideas which are different from values. There are basically 5 SELs, social and emotional learning ideas. 1 is self-awareness, recognizing your feelings, values, and emotions. Self-confidence. 2, social awareness, having empathy for others, recognizing similarities and differences in people from different backgrounds. 3, relationship skills, keeping positive relationships, communicating clearly, helping others. 4, self-management, managing your emotions, feelings, and behaviors. And 5 is responsible decision-making, making good decisions about your behavior and relationships. We know that almost all of our at-risk students have issues with some of these things. So that is why it's spelled out, and they have the opportunity to learn about the different SELs and to practice. So here's, check the sentences that describe you. Over here, answer the questions. And on with Careers 2, we see that it's a little bit different. Here's our life skills. Self-awareness and social awareness affect success. Defines self-awareness and social awareness, and then the opportunity to address that. Always, we're concerned about reading. We're always concerned about vocabulary and context, comprehension, critical thinking and writing, and I don't care if we're in careers or if we're in geometry. We want kids to read and write and always have that experience, even if they're functioning at a reading level of grade 2. That's okay. Let's get it across and have them read and understand. And you can see that with Careers 1 and Careers 2, there's opportunities for reading. There's opportunities for understanding vocabulary and context, and there's practice for vocabulary. Comprehension questions are generally down at the bottom in the game, as is critical thinking, and they always have in every element's curriculum opportunities to write. If you look at the Careers 1 page, this is introducing the resume with a blurb about Leon and how he wants to apply for a job, but first he must write his resume. Here's his resume, and then the student answers the question. This is in the student book. The practice book is going to allow more of an in-depth opportunity to take a look at resume, and it will build to the point where the student writes their own resume. Careers 2, you see, as we pointed out, the duties of the dog walker in a fairly interesting picture. Kids like animals, generally speaking, and so they're willing to read about Allie and how he needs to make money. So he's going to dog walk and he's thinking about going into business. However, that requires a business license. There's your vocabulary. So he decides to work with Waggles, a dog walking company in his town. All students need to learn real life skills. Low-level readers benefit from emphasis on main points, white space, a larger font, simplified text, short sentences, and repeating main ideas. This is typical and consistent across every single subject with the Elements curriculum. You see all the white space. You see that the sentences are fairly short and to the point. That's what we want. A larger font, short sentences. We want kids to get this information and not trip them over by putting in fancy words that are not relevant to that particular subject. And we want them to be able to understand the objective as quickly and as succinctly as possible. In Careers 2, we can carry that forward. Effective strategies for teaching job readiness skills for low-life readers. And on this page, we see that the first thing we do for the job interview is put the reader at ease by saying a first step for getting a job is the job interview. But it can be scary because that's the truth. To overcome the jitters, prepare yourself. So we're acknowledging, yes, a job interview is scary, but do this and you'll feel better. You'll be more confident. Do these things, and they're listed. Do these things before the interview. Do these things at the interview. So there's an emphasis on main points. Again, very little distracting clutter on the page. You see the white space, and you see that the sentences are short. It's simplified. It's not dummied down. It's simplified. We also put in fun pictures and funny or catchy words like don't blabber on or the word jitters. That's a vocabulary word, but it's a fun word. And the game. Throughout the Elements curriculum, you will see the game, which is the opportunity for the students to interact with the concept on the page. And just by calling it the game, puts kids more at ease with what they have to do on that page. Real life skills are essential. Always, always we hear that. This is an example of a career application. After the student has had opportunities to look at career applications, figure out what components make up a career application, then they fill it out for themselves. Careers 2 addresses paycheck stubs, and this is something that's typically left out. But everybody wants to know, what happened to my money? And kids want to know about gross pay, deductions, net pay, year to date. Yes, these are kind of higher order thinking skill concepts, but because it's about their money, then they want to learn those vocabulary words and they want to understand. So this page addresses the paycheck stub. There's a complementary page that reinforces it with the practice book. Educators, all educators want to know about careers, about goals and objectives and correlations with the standards. Absolutely. Every Elements subject comes with goals and objectives and the correlations. Now, that is not to say, or rather, you have the choice as a teacher, as a member of the Educational Planning Committee, to use this, to not use this, to use something else, and even if you use this, you want to individualize it. You see there's the name, the duration of services, your measurable annual goals, the language of delivery, present levels of performance, and progress and so forth, and support services that may be needed. Down here are the measurable objectives. When you look at the measurable objectives, you may want to check all of these. You may have a student who's intellectually challenged and really you're only going to check a few for this particular year or to take to the Educational Planning Committee. You may want to write in your own. As always, with goals and objectives, must be individualized to meet the needs of the student and to meet the student where they're at, and to be able to help them grow in the capacity that they're able. As with all of the Elements curriculum, the goals and objectives are laid out in the same format, so you're not surprised when you pull it up. As with all Elements subjects, the goals and objectives correlate with the standards. The correlation is found as a download on the home page of Firelight Books, and here's where you can find it. Also, you can find the catalog as a download here. You can go to each one of the Elements curriculum, each subject, click on it, and you can view sample pages so that you know exactly what you're getting so that you'll be able to work with your students. These are our newest books. And I don't think I have all of them listed, but they're easy to be found. Joni is on. Joni is our sales representative and advisor from the Houston area. Joni, would you like to talk to us about the required SEL competencies?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Joni Phillips, and I'm down in the Houston metro region for Texas, 4, 5, and 6. If any of you need to reach me, I'm very easy to be found. And one thing that I'll suggest about that part is the support that you would have with Nancy and the curriculum from Firelight Books. That's one thing that you can count on us to get back with you that day. And also the online program. I know I'm sort of off track here on what she was asking, but I just want to make sure that y'all do know that the online curriculum, of course, everything's going that direction now, is very, very easy to use. And of course, you would have the hard copy also. So going back to the SELs, your social emotional learning for all these students is just a key portion that I know we're required to have as much as possible in our schools now. And of course, self-awareness would be very easy with the careers because they're seeking something for their future and even for tomorrow's local job that they have. This curriculum is excellent for covering their self-management skills, their relationship skills. You have discussions of who you're going to be working with, the relationship with your employer, your social awareness is the same thing, responsible decision making. And so they are making decisions for the future, but those SELs are going to be a big part of the curriculums now in the school districts. I know for the fact in Texas they are. The level would go anywhere in discussion during the daily activities that are in the teacher's guide. The chapter activities are excellent. Partnering up, creating posters on the subjects that they are looking at a certain career. Partnering, playing Pictionary. We all know that all these students are coming in at different levels, so the teacher is able to use the activities that are in this, not just the worksheets, but the activities is what help these students progress to a new level, especially since they're going to be out in the workforce. That's where the Careers 2 is really helping them seek out what they're looking for the future. But I just wanted to say a couple points there. And then also, I don't know if this is something that you'd be interested in. Of course, Nancy has said that the Elements curriculum is very consistent, no matter if you're talking about English, basic English, or economics, or U.S. history. Whatever you are studying, all the Elements books stay on the same pathway of easy to use, and they all have activities also. So going to the marketing and budgeting and if they were interested in a certain career, she covers every single portion that's needed for graduation, what they have to plan ahead for graduation, where they're going to go after that. And I could go on, but I will stop there. Yes. Thank you for asking, Nancy.
Thank you. Any other questions? I also want to comment about the SELs and Arkansas. Arkansas is really pushing the social emotional learning ideas. That's another reason why they are spelled out and really emphasized. Lori Lamb, who was with the Department of Education with Alternative Ed, and she works with Alternative Ed nationally, and this was something that she requested specifically for her kids. I am a school psychologist and an educational diagnostician also. After having taught from pre-K all the way to the college level, I understand about behavioral issues and how important that is, and how a lot of kids just miss the basics. They miss such simple concepts, and it needs to be spelled out for them. Those simple things like networking. What is networking? Well, that's just talking with the people around you. If you need a job, saying to your family, to your friends, to your teachers, to your coaches, hey, I need a job. So these kinds of things are spelled out in Careers 1 and Careers 2. We don't want to take anything for granted. I'm also going to ask Laura if she'll do a follow-up email to each of you, because we have some specials that are available, and also your sales rep information. What other questions? Anyone? I'm excited to see that we have a counselor with us. We also have someone who is from a behavioral school, just because I'm being a school psychologist, that's so close to my heart. I really want to welcome you. This is going to be an interesting school year coming up. I understand that most of the schools are looking at a hybrid situation where they will be using some books, some traditional classroom teaching, as well as remote learning. So all this is available through the Elements curriculum, that you can actually get all of it. I also really would like for you to take a look at a specific page. Let's go with Making Dreams Come True. That's page 17 of Career 1. Now imagine this: if your student is at home doing remote learning, this is actually something a parent could work through with the student. The concept is not so out there, and the vocabulary is not so complicated that parents might stumble. This is very straightforward, and it will also help the students with their relationship with the parents and vice versa by going through this together. It's so supportive. Any other questions? I'd like to ask if Kevin is on.
I'm here. Good morning.
Great. Kevin, can you introduce yourself, since you have quite a few folks here from Arkansas, and maybe give a little bit of your perspective?
Well, I've had, I work with Arkansas, Mississippi, and some Tennessee, and Careers 1 has been out for a year now, and I've had an awful lot of excitement from the instructors, and they all knew that Careers 2 was coming out, and they've been highly anticipating it coming out. So I know that's a real big feather in Firelight's cap that we now have Careers 2. But with all the 17 or 18 subjects that we've got now are just fantastic. I heard you mention that we've got a behavioral school that might be on here. I have quite a few behavioral schools in Arkansas and West Tennessee in the Shelby County area that have been using this for a number of years. And now, of course, they're now gravitating to the Careers 1 and Careers 2. That's working out beautifully. That's a fantastic setting for this product to go into. So I'm just really excited, as well as the educators are, that Careers 2 is now out.
Kevin, can I ask if, go ahead.
I'm still here.
Kevin, can I ask if you would put your contact information in the chat? And Joni, would you also too?
Absolutely.
We have a question from Sharon. Do students work through Careers 1 and 2 in the school year? Sharon, I have to answer, as with any time that we're working with at-risk students or special education, we meet the student at their level. But generally speaking, Careers 1 is a book that is used for one school year, typically. And if a student does 1 page per day in the school year, the student will get through that book. Now, you know that there's the Careers 1 student textbook, but there's also a workbook that goes with it. So most kids are able to do 1 page in the Careers book plus the practice book, and then maybe the enrichment activities for vocabulary as well. Typically, this is for 1 year. Typically, this is for 1 year. Now, we know if we have a kiddo who's homebound or some serious issues, it may take them longer to get through a book. We know this. That's why we have an individual education plan. And we also know if we have kids who are in a behavioral setting, they're bright, but they are in there for behavioral issues, and that's what's tripping up their reading. Once they get on target, they may be able to go through both books in a year, but that's generally not recommended. Did I answer your question? And Laura, if you will unmute everyone so that they can ask any other questions.
They're all unmuted.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I really want to thank everyone. This is a challenging time. I recognize it. I'm out there. I'm working with teachers. I know what's going on. I'm working with kids. Wow, this is a challenging time. We're trying to pivot from a traditional classroom to remote and going back and forth, and all in all, everyone's doing the best that they can, and we're learning a lot, and I think it's going to settle down, and we'll have some good hybrid situations, and we'll all be safe in the meantime. So I thank you, and I wish you safety, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to send them to Laura at Firelight Books or your sales reps. Kevin and Joni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.